What if I told you that 99% of the history you were taught in school was watered down, sanitized, or straight up lied about just to keep you from realizing how absolutely chaotic our past actually is? Throwing the textbooks completely out the window, we are peeling back the curtain on the hidden truths the world tried to erase. From the most embarrassing military blunders and devastating corporate scams, to the downright disgusting hygiene habits of ancient empires, and the absolute madmen who accidentally changed the world. Most people want to go out in a blaze of glory. You want to be remembered in a good way, people sharing cute stories of you. But history is full of people who went out in a blaze of absolute stupidity. We're counting down the dumbest final moments ever recorded. The reality? Sometimes the universe just has a terrifyingly dark sense of humor. From a king who literally ate himself to death to a philosopher killed by his own joke, wait till the end, cause the last one will blow your mind. Imagine dedicating your entire life to philosophy. You unlock the secrets of the universe, you command respect, only to get permanently defeated by a bad joke. The year is around 200 BCE. Greek philosopher Chrysippus is hanging out, minding his own business, when he sees a donkey eating some of his prized figs. Now, figs were expensive. It's like watching a stray dog eat your Wagyu steak. But for some reason, Chrysippus finds this absolutely hilarious. He turns to his servant and jokes, "Hey, give the donkey some fine unwatered wine to wash those down." It wasn't that funny, Chrysippus. But the image broke him. He started laughing. And laughing. He couldn't catch his breath. His heart rate spiked. He laughed so hard and for so long that he literally ran out of oxygen, collapsed, and died of asphyxiation. He is history's first recorded victim of his own terrible sense of humor. If you lived in 16th century Europe, surviving to old age was a miracle. You dodged the plague, starvation, and endless wars. But Hans Steininger, the mayor of Braunau, survived all of that. He was famous for exactly one thing: having the longest beard in Europe. It was over 4.5 feet long. It was his entire personality. People traveled across countries just to look at his facial hair. He usually kept it rolled up in a neat little leather pouch. But one day, a massive fire breaks out in the town. Panic ensues. Hans jumps up to help evacuate the citizens, completely forgetting to secure his beard pouch. He sprints toward the stairs, steps on his own 4.5-foot beard, violently snaps his neck, and dies instantly. Imagine surviving medieval Europe, only to trip over your own chin. Greek playwright Aeschylus was a smart guy. Too smart. He received a prophecy from an oracle stating that he would die from something falling on his head. A normal person might just wear a helmet. Aeschylus decided to outsmart fate. He left the city, avoided all buildings, avoided all trees, and just sat out in an open, empty field. Smart, right? The gods can't drop a roof on you if there is no roof. Wrong. The universe always wins. High above the field, a large eagle had caught a tortoise. Eagles kill tortoises by dropping them from massive heights onto hard rocks to shatter their shells. The eagle looks down, sees Aeschylus's perfectly smooth, shiny, bald head glistening in the sun, and thinks, "Ah, a rock? Direct hit, prophecy fulfilled." It is officially the funniest assassination in the history of the animal kingdom. King Alexander of Greece had it all: power, wealth, and army. He wasn't killed by an assassin's blade or a rival empire. He was taken out by a monkey. He was walking through his royal gardens when his pet dog got into a fight with a Barbary macaque. The king, trying to break up the animal WWE match, steps in. The monkey turns around and bites him. It wasn't even a fatal wound, but they didn't have antibiotics. The bite got infected with sepsis, and 3 weeks later, the king of Greece was dead. The death caused a massive political crisis and a war that cost 250,000 lives, all because one monkey chose violence on a Tuesday. Confidence is key, but 33-year-old Austrian tailor Franz Reichelt had way too much of it. He invented a wearable wingsuit parachute. To prove it worked to the entire world, he got permission to jump off the first deck of the Eiffel Tower. Crowds gathered. Journalists had their cameras ready. Police were there. He stood on the ledge. He hesitated for a long time, but the pressure of the crowd was too much. He jumped. The parachute did not deploy. He plummeted straight down and instantly created a 6-inch crater in the frozen grass. The parachute didn't work, but gravity worked perfectly. Lawyers will do anything to win a case, but Clement Vallandigham took it to the grave. He was defending a man accused of shooting someone in a bar brawl. Clement's argument? My client didn't shoot him. The victim accidentally shot himself while drawing his gun. To prove this to the jury, Clement grabbed a pistol, put it in his pocket, and stood in front of the courtroom to reenact the victim's movements. Except, he forgot to unload the pistol. He draws the gun, it catches on his clothing, and bang, he shoots himself in the stomach. He bled to death in a hotel room the next day. The absolute wildest part? His client was acquitted. He literally died to prove a point, and he won. Ultimate mic drop. Ancient philosopher Heraclitus was a genius who hated doctors. He thought they were all quacks. So when he got sick with dropsy, edema, he decided to cure himself using alternative medicine. His brilliant philosophical solution? He buried himself up to his neck in steaming cow manure. He believed the heat of the poop would evaporate the excess water from his body. Instead, he got severely dehydrated, suffered from heat stroke, got a massive infection from the literal feces he was swimming in, and died. A brilliant thinker, outsmarted by a pile of actual crap. In 1518, the town of Strasbourg experienced the ultimate HR nightmare, the dancing plague. One woman stepped into the street and started dancing. Then 30 people joined her. Within a month, 400 people were dancing wildly in the streets without music. They literally could not stop. For days, their feet bled. They cried out in terror, but their bodies wouldn't quit. Some collapsed and died of heart attacks. Others died from sheer exhaustion. Imagine having to explain that to your boss. Sorry, I can't come into the blacksmith shop today. I'm caught in an endless, fatal rave. Roman Emperor Claudius conquered Britain, built aqueducts, and mastered ancient politics, but he could not master portion control. He loved grand feasts. Ancient sources claim he attended a banquet and ate so incredibly heavily that his digestive system simply gave up. Some say his wife poisoned a mushroom, but others say his body just couldn't handle the sheer volume of luxury food. The man who ruled the known world was defeated by a buffet. Let's fast forward to 1993. Corporate lawyer Garry wanted to prove to a group of law students that the glass in a 24th floor Toronto skyscraper was completely unbreakable. So he runs and throws his entire body weight against the glass. And you know what? He was right. The glass didn't break, not even a crack, but the frame holding the glass popped completely out of the wall. Garry and the unbroken window fell 24 stories to the pavement. Task failed successfully. Mithridates VI was terrified of being poisoned by his enemies, so he spent years microdosing himself with every known toxin in the world. He drank tiny bits of poison every day until his body built up a complete immunity. It worked perfectly, too perfectly. Years later, he is defeated in battle. The enemy is closing in. He decides he'd rather die by his own hand than be captured. He drinks a massive vial of poison. Nothing happens. He just gets a stomach ache. He made himself so immune to poison that he couldn't even assassinate himself. He awkwardly had to ask one of his bodyguards to stab him with a sword instead. Famed 1920s dancer Isadora Duncan loved fashion, specifically massive trailing silk scarves. One day, she's riding in the passenger seat of an open-air sports car. She dramatically throws her scarf over her shoulder and yells to her friends, "Farewell, I go to glory." The scarf draped over the side of the car got caught in the spokes of the rear wheel and instantly tightened as the axle spun. The car snapped her neck before the driver even realized what happened. You think gamers rage quit today? You have no idea. In medieval times, a nobleman was playing a high-stakes game of chess. His opponent makes a brilliant move, effectively trapping the nobleman's king. The nobleman gets so infuriated, so absolutely blinded by rage at losing a board game that his blood pressure spikes. He suffers a massive stroke and dies right there at the table. He rage quit life. The year is 79 AD. Mount Vesuvius is erupting. Ash is blocking out the sun. The city of Pompeii is screaming. Everyone with a boat is rowing away as fast as humanly possible, except Pliny the Elder. Pliny looks at the apocalyptic wall of fire and ash and says, "Fascinating, row me toward it." He wanted to study the eruption up close for science. He sailed right into the toxic gas clouds, laid down on the beach to get a better look, and immediately suffocated to death. Science gained knowledge. Pliny gained a volcano. King Henry I of England had a very specific weakness: lampreys. If you don't know what a lamprey is, look it up. It's an eel that looks like a vacuum cleaner tube filled with razor blades. His doctors explicitly told him, "Your Majesty, please stop eating the nightmare eels. They are making you sick." He ignored them. He ate what historians literally call a surfeit of lampreys, which is Old English for way too many eels. He got severe food poisoning, his bowels locked up, and he died. The King of England taken out by ugly fish. So, what did we learn today? We learned that history wasn't just built by brilliant strategists and untouchable geniuses. It was built by people making spectacularly, almost impressively bad decisions. A beard became a lethal weapon. A turtle fulfilled an ancient prophecy. A lawyer successfully argued himself out of an unbroken window. And the King of England got dunked on by seafood. The deeper you dig into history, the less it feels like a serious, dusty textbook, and the more it feels like the world's longest, darkest comedy sketch. If you enjoyed these unbelievable true stories, hit that subscribe button to the History Dude. Because history isn't boring. History is just humanity repeatedly pressing the wrong button and somehow surviving long enough to write it down. I'll see you in the next one.